Genesis, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So with all of the confusion that Teofimo Lopez has caused by calling himself undisputed, if there's two people that know the true definition of undisputed, is Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, because they truly are fighting for all 4 belts. Matter of fact, Josh Taylor, he came out and he put Teofimo on blast when he said it straight out. He said Teofimo is not undisputed. You have to fight Devin Haney to be undisputed because he is the WBC champion. Matter of fact, let me just quote everything that he said. Check this out.
Another person who's been shouting your name is Teofimo Lopez, who wants to move up and become, as he would say, a 2-weight undisputed champion. Obviously, there's debate over whether he's an undisputed champion in his own weight at the moment. But how do you kind of assess him? Is he someone you see as more credible because of the belts he's won in the division below?
Well, there you go. You've said it yourself. He's saying he's undisputed champion. He's not. He's still got the other belt to win. He's got to beat Devin Haney for the other belt. So he's got unfinished business at lightweight to do. Do I think he's a good fighter? Absolutely. I think he's an outstanding fighter. I think he's a great fighter. Did he do well to beat Lomachenko? Absolutely. I thought he did brilliant. But he did brilliant against a small lightweight, you know. But you know, he's a massive lightweight, and Lomachenko's a very small lightweight. But I just thought he's a very good fighter, but he's got unfinished business to do. So I'm not thinking about him. You know, I think he's a good fighter. I think he's very well rounded. He's got good timing, good power, and yeah, he's a good fighter. But I'm not interested in him at the minute.
There it is, right there. You just heard it from the man that really is fighting for the undisputed title, or that status, if you will. Now, before I start talking more about undisputed and how he completely debunked that and how it was debunked already before, I want to say this first. What Josh Taylor just said puts a lot of pressure on Teofimo Lopez to fight either a Devin Haney or a Tank Davis next. Because now with Ryan Garcia announcing he's taking somewhat of a temporary layoff, and with Josh Taylor, the guy that Teo wanted to fight, telling Teofimo, you need to fight Devin Haney to become undisputed before you mention my name. Now with those 2 fighters unavailable, there's only 2 fights that make sense for Teofimo. That's Devin Haney, the guy that Teofimo claims he said he wants to end Devin Haney's career. So this is a perfect opportunity and perfect time for you to do what you say you want to do. If you get past Kambosos, which is not a guarantee he's going to even get past Kambosos. Assuming he does get past Kambosos, there's no other fight that makes sense. Like Teo and his dad always says, we're trying to move forward. We're not trying to go backwards. And if you fight anyone other than Tank Davis or Devin Haney, you're moving backwards. Not only that, but you stand to make a lot of money fighting against a Devin Haney or a Tank Davis next, assuming they get past their opponents, which also isn't a guarantee they'll win. Now, going back to the undisputed talk, it was pretty interesting because in this interview was conducted by Talk Sports that Josh Taylor did. And the reporter, or the guy that was interviewing Josh Taylor, he says, Teofimo claims he wants to move up to 140 and become a 2-time undisputed champion. But then the reporter, he says, but it's up for debate if Teofimo is even undisputed. Guys, this is so comical to me. When he says it's up for debate, that alone proves by the definition of the word disputed or undisputed, saying that it's up for debate already proves that he is not undisputed. That's what the word dispute means, guys. If Teofimo was the undisputed champion at the lightweight or the super lightweight division, the websites would show that he has all 4 belts, like they do when they show Josh Taylor's belts, the belts that he holds. This graphic that you guys are looking at right here, as you guys can see, it shows that he's the WBC, the WBO, the WBA, and the IBF champion. Therefore, he is undisputed. But once again, you go on any website. Now look at what it says when you look up Teofimo's name. Now this clip is from ESPN. The other clip I played was from BoxRec. Notice it shows that Teofimo is the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA champion. Then it shows who as the WBC champion? It shows Devin Haney as the champion. So realistically, if you really think about the fact, you have other professional boxers saying that this man is not undisputed. But more importantly, you have every boxing website that does the rankings that has Devin Haney as the WBC champion and not Teofimo. That means this is not even really a dispute. It's unanimous that Teofimo Lopez is not an undisputed champion. And he knows that, and everyone who says it knows it. But you have to understand how boxing works. Old media was trying to use this narrative of Teofimo being undisputed as some type of protection, because Max Kellerman even said it to him. You can fight whoever you want. You call the shots right now. You're undisputed. Basically trying to say, like, soon as you get the belts, all of the belts, you can cherry pick for the rest of your career because you've already got all the belts, which sounds completely ridiculous when you're talking about a 23-year-old fighter. We're not talking about a 33-year-old fighter who's close to retiring. I mean, even Teofimo himself admitted that he's just starting when it comes to building his legacy. So why would you want this man to start cherry picking and taking easy competition at 23? You want him to cherry pick all the way until he retires, until he's what, age 30 or 35? Only when you're on the hope list do you get this type of luxury. Meanwhile, the same man, Max Kellerman, who's pushing Teofimo Lopez to cherry pick for the rest of his life, is the one that calls Floyd Mayweather a businessman. I get so annoyed, man, because people like Andre Ward, you're sitting right next to these guys. Why don't you point out these double standards? Andre Ward really needs to do that. I know he's worried about probably getting in trouble, catching some heat or whatever, but man, it's time for some people to really expose, or somebody to really expose ESPN for what they really are about. You can't have it both ways. You can't try to say the reason why we don't like Floyd is because he was nothing but a big cherry picker, but then encourage the fighters you like to avoid as many black fighters as possible. It makes no sense. Max Kellerman, he told Teofimo to his face. He said, you can fight whoever you want. If you end up fighting for the WBO belt, then they're gonna say, oh, well, you still have to fight for the regular WBA belt because Gervonta is the regular WBA champion. And it just goes on and on and on. It'll never stop, right? This is what he told Teofimo. And it's funny because soon as he told Teofimo used that same excuse on another interview. He used that as an answer when I think it was Ak and Barak. They asked him, they said, listen, why wouldn't you just clear it up so there's no confusion and just fight Devin Haney so we really know who undisputed is? And Teofimo, he repeated word for word what Max Kellerman told him. He said, well, if I fight him, then they're gonna say, oh, well, now you gotta fight against Gervonta Tank Davis for the regular WBA. And it never stops. And then they're gonna say I gotta fight someone else for some regular belt. And it just goes on and on and on. This is what he said, right? First of all, he makes it sound like someone is asking him to do something that he doesn't want to do. Like someone is telling him, why don't you go out and do, 300 hours of community service or something. You're supposed to want to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. It's not even supposed to be about the belts. This is so funny because Ryan Garcia, who has no belts, they were trying to tell him, the same people, Chris Mannix, Max Kellerman, they were saying that he calls all the shots and belts don't mean anything. But when it comes to Teofimo, they use the belts as an excuse for why he should be able to fight whoever he wants, why he should be the shot caller in the division. These cats are never consistent when they're trying to protect the fighters that they actually like. Now, going back to the WBA excuse, the Teofimo Lopez, here's the reason why that excuse makes no sense. On top of the fact that you're already supposed to want to fight Gervonta, the fact that the rankings that I showed you guys a minute ago, every website actually has Teofimo as the WBA champion, but none of those websites has him as the WBC champion. That alone tells the whole story. So I gotta reiterate, you can't be considered undisputed when all of the boxing websites that ranks the boxers are disputing that. They're telling you straight up, Teo, you're not the WBC champion, so how can you be undisputed? You know, guys, I would expect fans on the internet to say stuff like this, just completely make up stuff. But to hear professionals, to hear reporters calling Teofimo undisputed, it is one of the most disrespectful, one of the most unprofessional things I've seen professional reporters and boxing analysts say or do in the sport of boxing. And that's saying a lot, because every week they surprise us with some of the things that they say or report now. I mean, for a reporter to say that Teofimo is undisputed, that's like a reporter saying that Ryan Garcia is the real WBC champion because he's the interim champion. That's pretty much the same thing, because it's something completely made up. And I'm telling you right now, if the media, if they start pushing that right now, you would hear the rest of the reporters starting to say the same thing, because it's no longer about the truth. It's about trying to protect these fighters from fighters on a coincidental list by all means necessary. But Josh Taylor has really messed up Teofimo's plans. He's really messed his plans up. And just by him saying this, being the fact that he is actually really fighting for undisputed against Jose Ramirez, that really puts a lot of pressure on Teofimo to do the right thing and fight the man that he seems that he doesn't really want to fight, or he's not in a hurry to fight. Hopefully Teofimo, he gets enough confidence to take that fight if he gets past Kambosos. We already know Devin is going to be on him. He's going to be on him like a collections agency. We'll see if Teofimo gives in. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
An important message from Youth Fountain Laboratory, makers of VasoFlux and VasoFlux for Men. If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Blackout. Blackout is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856. And remember, to help unclog veins and arteries, get the Blackout.
Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo de Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.